This podcast is brought to you by Penji. Penji is a creative subscription service that gives you access to pre-vetted, agency-trained creatives from all over the world. From graphic design to illustrations to social media management and web development, it's all included for one monthly price. It's time to say goodbye to the hassle of searching for top-notch creative talent. With Penji, you get quality and consistency delivered right to your inbox every day, carefully crafted for you by humans. So meet your new creative team today. Head over to penji.co for more and enter the coupon code located within the podcast show notes.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the First 100 podcast. This is where we explore the journey of entrepreneurs, business owners, agency leaders, and so many more people as they share with us the strategies, the challenges, and the triumphs that have led them to secure those first 100 customers. Very excited today because we have a very special guest, Fernando Sustaita. How are you, Fernando?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm doing great putting on my glasses. Very happy to have you here. I wanted to do this without glasses, and then quickly I realized I can't. Um, Very happy to have you on the podcast today, Fernando. You been a partner of Penji's for a while, so you're also, you worked with us before. For people watching our show, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, give us context?
Yes, thank you. I guess you want to know about my e-commerce journey, not about my whole life. I started doing e-commerce literally on 1998. Yeah, I'm that old. When eBay came out, I am a toy collector. I'm a nerd at heart. And I was buying toys, and before I realized, I was like, oh my God, I have so many toys. I need to sell them back. And and my passion for e-commerce began right there. Of course, I got married where I told me you to find a full-time job. I was like, okay, wait. I went to corporate, did very good in corporate, 6-figure job. 2013, I get laid off, and I'm like, oops, oil and gas company collapsed. And I told my wife, you know what? I have always wanted to do e-commerce full time. I'm gonna do it. And she's like, well, if you can take off before you find another job, go ahead and do it. And I have been doing this ever since. Um, Literally, I've been a full-time self-employed for almost 11 years. And, and I have loved every single moment of it. I have done from selling on Amazon, Etsy, Shopify, eBay, Amazon, TikTok, Facebook Marketplace, you name it, right? Whatever the opportunity is, we go and test it. And sometimes we have been years long journeys, and sometimes we have been like, oh, okay, let's get out of here. It's not a good idea. So, but it's been a fun journey.
So you started with selling collectible toys, right? And then it sort of has been snowballing into what you're doing now. How does that compare to what you were doing, at the beginning, where I'm assuming like all these collectibles that were just too many to have were just, reselling?
Well, I mean, it has been like a whole roller coaster, right? On When I was in corporate, just to give you a little background, I have a degree on international business marketing with a minor in psychology, and I was working for the legal procurement department on contracts. So for the oil and gas, so I was in charge of billions of dollars every year on purchasing power from the companies I used to work with. And then that day of going to fancy dinners, I was going to Walmart to buy toys to resell. Okay, so it's like, and but selling toys, selling Legos, selling Star Wars figures, and selling Hot Wheels and things like that, it was fun, but it wasn't bringing enough money to the house, right? So we had to get more serious, and we had to look for real products. At some point, I started teaching. You know, um, it was in a Facebook group. Somebody asked me, "Do you want to? You're very good at this. Would you like to give a little class?" And I'm like, well, I have done that in corporate. I train people. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And before I realized I was doing it, and then I had a course, and then I had a coaching program. Then I had a bunch of people, and a bunch of following. And I'm like, oh, okay. It's not what I expected when I left, my corporate job. I thought I was going to be selling, all the stuff, online. And now it's like, it is what it is, right? Sometimes the journeys take you somewhere else, with experience and everything. And it's been rewarding. So, but yeah, selling toys and what I'm doing today, it's a whole different thing. I no longer go to the stores and hunting for like, hey, let's see if I can buy a whole aisle, from the clearance department. I don't do that anymore. I kind of miss the hunt sometimes, but at the same time, it's easier to do it this way.
It's really interesting to me because you started e-commerce in 1998 when I think e-commerce wasn't that big. I don't remember when Amazon was started, but I think Amazon either was just for books or they hadn't even like the website wasn't even a thing yet at
I,
the
I,
time.
I remember it was 98 or 99 when I was selling on Amazon. But Amazon at the time, it was books. You're right. It
Yeah.
was completely books, but it had something that a lot of people don't remember. Amazon was trying to copy eBay and they had auctions. So it was like eBay at the time, it was only auctions. And so we, they didn't, they were not that known. So you could go to Amazon and buy very cheap, and then you will go to eBay and sell whatever you bought because, it was that way. And now look at what Amazon is, and eBay is not even close to do that. So it was an interesting. I mean, to be honest, like I stopped selling on Amazon like around early 2000, and then I never looked back at Amazon. I completely forgot Amazon existed until like 2014. Like it was
Really?
never on my radar because I used to like going to the stores and buying my books and stuff like that. And one day I had these huge lots of Lego that I was, and my friend is selling on Amazon. I'm like, Amazon has auctions and I don't want to sell on auction. I was like, what are you talking about? Amazon has never had auctions. I'm like, yes, Amazon had auctions. I remember going to American Online and saying welcome. And he's like, well, Amazon is there, auctions. Like, no, dude, Amazon is this huge thing. And I'm like, oh, so I completely disregarded them because I was so into eBay and sitting on Facebook market in Facebook groups at the time, So it's been fun to see how in '98, um, literally e-commerce was really non-existent. It was used some stores that had their websites, and the websites were more informative. It was more infomercials, where they're trying to teach you how to do something.
Yeah.
We didn't have Facebook ads. We had like it was very, very old Wild West, and that wasn't that long ago.
To me, what's insane is that like you've been in the e-commerce business since like the baby steps. Because I think also when I remember, I mean, I was definitely like not young enough, not old enough to, like, be around for when all of that stuff was happening, but I do remember sort of being a child and my parents being very wary of online shopping because they were always like, "No, you're not gonna wanna put your address and credit card information there," like, I don't know, like, in-store shopping was the thing because people didn't really trust e-commerce because it wasn't as popular as it is now, and I feel like nowadays it's like shopping online is everybody's number 1 option.
At the time, everybody was saying like, you know, this is not going to last. It's going to collapse. Has no future. And to be honest, it was very difficult to do business because now we have communities where we can talk to other sellers and learn from each other. Now we have tools that gives us information. Now we have, ways to do research and ways to find, opportunities and sales. Before we would go and it will be like, okay, this is what I find. I don't even know if I'm going to sell it. I have no data whatsoever. It was literally just going like, literally like, I'm going to trust my gut, and you will go and sometimes it was that, right? You didn't have anything. It was just more like, it was a gut feeling that whatever you were buying was going to sell and there was nothing else. It was just go for it. And today is like everything you do, really you can make, smart decisions about it. Anything any even in the design, you can go and search like this is gonna work. You can talk to the community and say, hey, what do you think about this design? Do you think it will reflect my branding? It will not. You get immediate feedback. Before it was like nothing. It was like
Yeah.
you had like a couple of friends that were on AOL. You will send them a message, say, hey, you will send an image. They will take forever to load, and sometimes sometimes they wouldn't even get it. And you said, do you like it? And they'll be like, well, I have no idea what I'm looking at, but sure, I like it. It's like it's very different. You find your drive now so easily, and you can find clients ridiculously fast compared to what it used to be before.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, I saw this meme or, like, video of someone saying, like, Black Friday shopping in like 2008 was, like a bunch of people trying to run into a store and see how much they could get. And nowadays it's like Black Friday shopping and the stores are like, there's like a normal amount of people. It's the websites that are crashing with everybody trying to shop online, which
Yeah,
just like shows how much e-commerce has completely influenced, I mean, the shopping market for people in general. It's just
yeah.
how people do things.
I mean, I make sound like 98, like he was like I was this old dude in there. I mean, I was literally in college. I was like 19, and 19, 20 at the time, and I yes, the Black Friday deals. My son was asking me like actually we were talking about it the other day that it's like, are you gonna do Black Friday? I'm like, I don't care about Friday anymore. It's like the deals are like a week long. It's nothing exciting about it. I'm like, I told my son, it was the hunt, right? It was the I'm gonna go for the hunt. I would see like see if this thing I want, I can get it. And we will wake up at 4 in the morning and we will go outside Best Buy. And I wanted to buy a damn DVD that was like $2. And I could have gotten that any day on the year, but I wanted to see if I could get it, right? And it was the hunt or try to go this video game that because it was like $10 cheaper and go and try to get it. It was like it was entertaining, it was fun. And then it started getting aggressive, and then it started getting out of what, and it started getting like not to the point that you're like, nah, I don't want to go. And now it's like it doesn't exist, it's just now it's Cyber Monday and things like that. Is
Yeah, like, like right after Black Friday, I remember that people were like extending it to like Cyber Monday, Cyber Week, Cyber everything. I was like, yeah,
yeah,
I mean, because like it's become such a huge market that I mean, it's really
it's
different than
so
from what it was
it's
before.
too much noise during those days that now like I started getting Black Friday deals from people selling softwares and courses and stuff like that literally in October, because they didn't want they wanted to try to get the money first, and then they wanted to avoid all the noise. That by the time we got into Black Friday, nobody had deals, nobody had offers, and it was just regurgitating his stuff, and it was like the same thing, and it was like because your emails were like so spammed by everybody that is like it has lost the essence, and the idea that everybody's like, what's the point, right? It is no longer something like some people now have it like Black Friday on December. You probably we didn't want to be here right, because we didn't want to lose your offer that day, and now we're gonna do it here. It's like okay, it's just an
What's the
offer.
point?
It's no longer Black Friday. It's just an offer. It's just a new offer. But I don't know. It was fun. Now it's just okay. A lot of noise.
Well, this is called the First 100 podcast. So I do want to ask, when you started doing e-com full time, how did you go about actually getting customers and making revenue and profit out of this whole thing? I think a lot of business owners, whether they're solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, whatever industry they are in, have different journeys as to how they actually make their venture successful. So I wonder, how did you do it? Especially because you were doing it at a time when e-commerce was not even as common as it is now. You had to obviously figure out a way to get people's trust. I'm assuming that marketing was a lot different. I think marketing now is very,
Very different.
yeah, a lot more accessible with digital tools like social media, things like that to like promote e-commerce stores. Um, how did you do this? How did you actually start to get, those first few people that actually started to make this worthwhile? And when you started to see the money coming in.
I'll give you the two different ones. The one in e-commerce, how I got my 100, and then how I got my first 100 when I started selling courses, because they're very different and very different times. When I started doing e-commerce, I I never really stopped. But like in 2013, when I started doing that more like full time, I I went and see first of all, what do I have that I want to sell my house that was just laying around, so that I didn't have to invest any money. And as I said, I'm a toy collector, so I had thousands of Hot Wheels, right? And I said, okay, I joined a Facebook group at the time, and that was for toy Hot Wheel collectors. And then I learned that there were so many, and there were people selling and buy. It was the buy and sell Hot Wheel groups. They still have them, they still have like action figures and Funko Pops and all these other groups. And I began, interacting with people and giving my comments. And because, I've been collecting for since early 90s, uh, I had expertise for, about my toys from 25 years. So anyway, something, so people started like seeing my name. And then I started listing my toys for sale. But by the time I started listing my toys for sale, I had people had already recognized my name. They knew that I had been around the community, and made my first sale, and then I made my second sale, and then I started asking for people like, can you? I created a thread where people started putting their feedback on a Facebook group, and then every time, so as, do you have any reviews? Here is my Facebook post where everybody gives me reviews, and at the beginning it's a hustle, right? When you're selling something, it's a hustle because I will be like 4 or 5 hours trying to sell toys, and it will be 2, 3 sales. And then I started putting myself, a deal that I wouldn't go to bed until I had at least made $100 in sales. And, there were times that it was 10:30 at night and I had made my $100 sales. And sometimes I will be like 200, sometimes it will be like 2, 3 in the morning and I hadn't made sales. But it was like a goal that I had. And I made my first 100 sales probably in about 3 weeks. And after that, I started getting clients that were asking me for Hot Wheels in boxes. I started shipping Hot Wheels to Malaysia, to Philippines, to Brazil, to Mexico, some of them to Europe, because I didn't realize that even though the Hot Wheels are made in Malaysia, they don't sell them in Malaysia. Actually, they ship them to the United States and then they gotta get them back. So a lot of these people work in the factories and they're in love with Hot Wheels, but they cannot get them. So it was kind of weird that they were buying from us and then shipping them back, and it was like super expensive. Um, but what I recommend if you want to start with your first 100 sales is to join groups, right? To join groups of sellers and see what they're talking about and ask questions. Do not go and just try to sell something that you have no idea if it's going to be sold. Right now, there's so many communities that will help you get started. And there's a lot of people that are well-hearted that will help you and give you ideas. Like when I switched from Hot Wheels to Lego, I joined a community that was called Lego Investing. And I was invited to a little group that we were like about 20 people. And we would give tips to each other, like, hey, this Lego right now is on sale and expired. You can buy it. And this is the stuff like that. And they told me how to sell them, how to list them, how to pack them, how to be careful with the box so it wouldn't get ruined. And it was a very rewarding deal that to make the 100 sales, in Lego came very fast because, first of all, I already knew how to do that. And then it was that. Now, if you're looking to sell content, you first have to build a following, right? And the easiest way to build a following is to join a community in Facebook or any other place. But Facebook makes it easy. Um, like I was a member of a couple of Amazon groups at the time, and I was always interacting with people, making comments, making posts, and I went to a couple of conventions before, so people kind of knew my face. Um, so by the time I launched by the time I got an interview, live to teach about, Amazon custom, a lot of people knew my name in the community. So when I finished that deal, people started messaging me, Are you gonna be making a course on this?" And I'm like, no, I don't think so. But I got so many messages, people asking for it, that I'm like, well, might as well just make a course on it. Right. And I made it. And I had got recognition in the community that I was knowledgeable in my topic, that I was being successful in my topic. Amazon had invited me to see, their print on demand facilities, and it was record of it. Like, so that I was one of the 5 people that was invited to go to the facility in Dallas. And that when I said, I know what I'm doing, and here is the course on how to do it, to make the first 100 sales was fairly easy, right? Whereas I see a lot of people that are like very shy in the groups, they never talk, and out of that they believe they're very knowledgeable, and then they come out with a product, and everybody's like, "But what the hell are you?" It's like, we don't know nothing about you. It's like, why would we buy something from you when we never heard of? I get messages quite often of people saying, "Hey, will you help me promote my course?" And I'm like, I don't know you. It's like, how can I promote a course that somebody that I don't know? If invest a little time for people to know you, and a little time is literally a little time, make a lot of impact in a group. You can make impact fast, right? People don't remember you made a comment 3 months ago. People remember you made a comment a week or two ago, right? It's the attention span right now in this era is so small, so short, that they don't remember if they have known you forever. They just know that a week or two ago you helped someone or a bunch of someone's, and the people agree with your comments, that they do. Make your timeline about what you want to talk about. Stop making posts that are divisive. Stop making posts that are just jokes. Make your timeline about business so that when you make a comment on a group, they click on your profile to know who you are. They're like, oh, this guy knows a lot. He's always talking about these things. So by the time you
Add
launch,
value. Yes.
yeah, by the time you launch your product, they are like, I want to buy it. And 100 products sell faster if you invest the time to get people to know you than if you say, I'm just going to launch something. Um, Selling physical products, they don't have to know you, right? You just have to have the right product at the right price, at the right time. And when you're selling information, when you're selling knowledge, people have to at least get an idea. Can you sell without people knowing you? Yes. Well, run Facebook ads, make a very fun ad, make very good copy. And, but that is the expensive way. If you're looking to make your first 100 sales, probably you're starting from scratch, right? Invest some time on getting people to know you. Otherwise, run ads and, you can get 100 sales, you know, depending if your sales copy is good or not. Um, but it's different. But in both of these cases, I build the trust of the people who bought it in physical products by going to Facebook group communities and the collectibles, and by going into the print on demand Amazon groups, giving value to people. And both of them, people got to know me and trust me, and then when I had something to sell, they bought. So it applied to both cases.
Amazing. Yeah. And I actually wanted to ask, since you have also been doing courses and, helping people out with their ecom business, how have you been able to adapt to the rapid changes that are happening? Especially, I mean, in the tech world online, so much has happened in the last few years. We're seeing a surge in AI and it's sort of affecting every industry, I think, in different ways. Um, how have you been able to adapt to all of these things that are changing and influencing basically every industry? Obviously, with e-commerce, such an industry that's also so involved with technology and the internet. How have you been able to sort of work through this and adapt to the courses? Because I'm assuming that what was working in 2014 is not working in 2018, and then it's not going to work in 2022, and then 2022 is not even working on 2025, 2024.
It isn't, like at the beginning, things will take forever to change. So whatever you learn today, you could really be dormant for years with the same knowledge and not worry about changes that much. And whoever jumped in the new change first, had a huge, advantage over the rest because they could see the coming. Um, for the past 3, 4 years, the marketplaces, even social media has changed so fast that by the time you finish recording a course, you have to now make changes to it,
Sure.
right? Like I literally gave up trying to make courses. Instead, I started making workshops so that I can make, like I can teach you how to launch an Etsy store, for example. Live, I will build a store today based on what Etsy is asking today. A week two later, probably that is obsolete, right? But whoever applied and learned and opened their store by looking me open one and doing that, does that. It's changing so rapidly that, courses, unless it's a course on, on certain aspects, but when it's about doing sales and stuff like that, it changes so hard. Um, like for example, I mean, design by itself, um, it has AI has made it to a point that a lot of people are abusing AI, you know,
Right.
and the quality of the design in the final product is noticeable, right? AI still makes mistakes, but sometimes you don't catch them, but the buyer does. And they're like, "Why does this thing look like shady here? What is like an extra finger in there? What is all this stuff?" Um, AI is changing everything so fast that right now a lot of people have lost their essence in what they're doing. Like for example, yes, a lot of people say you can train AI to write using your voice. And you can train him to sound like you do, when we are writing something. But the other day I did a test. I'm like, I want to write an email to my audience using AI, right? I ChatGPT, I kind of trained it. Apparently it failed. I kind of trained it to sound like me. I sent it. I got the highest amount on unsubscribes that day that people thought that I had been hacked. Like I write my emails like I'm going in circles, and I speak like, I speak in my emails the way I speak when I'm talking. That one was so flawless going written that it was like everything to the point and everything very specific that everything will explain. That everybody's like, this is fake. They feel subscribe. And I'm like, wow, that was the biggest unsubscribes. I think I had like 30 unsubscribes in less than an hour. Uh,
Wow. No,
and I'm like,
ChatGPT is so extra. I know.
yeah, and I'm like, because there were, it was words that I would never use, and I didn't notice. I read it, I said, "Oh, this is well written." I didn't think, I was like, maybe people will like it. Maybe they will finally say, "Oh, you finally explained it better." No, apparently, people who follow me, they like the way I talk, the way I write, and it's my personality, and that's what they follow me. And when they saw that, it's like I can get that from anybody else, and they're like, "Bye." Um, and it is a journey. I get a lot of people asking me for help. It's like, can we use AI to sell in Etsy? And I'm like, yes, but you know what? I sell a lot of it. It's lazy. It's like it's not unique. It's like where's what you are doing? Yes, use it as a research tool. Use it to get um, you know, an idea of what you want to sell, what you want to do. I use it all the time to say, hey, give me like 10 ideas of what things can I write about that right now are trending. And it tells me, it gives me like, hey, can you give me like the outline of what you would say? And it's like, okay, it gives me the outline of what I would say. And it's like, okay, now I can use this starting point to make it my own. Whereas people are like, write me a book. And it's like, I have a book now. And it's like, okay, do you read it? No, I have a book. Thanks. Do you even read your own book? No, I didn't. It's fun how things work right now. It's going so fast that I had to make a conscious decision that I can only be an expert on so many things, and then I can be an idiot in so many other things, right? And that is why I surround myself with a team that, like for example, social media. It came to a point that I'm like, you know what? I can interact as myself in groups and stuff like that. But my social media posts and stuff like that, I no longer make them. I had to have somebody to go and make them and keep track of things that are changing, like Facebook ads. Like for example, I have a coach that actually sit down with him like twice a month, used to learn the new things that are trending on Facebook ads so that I can keep up with it. Because if I start only paying attention before I run an ad on things that have changed and the rules and stuff like that, or what type of ad is working today, I would only be working on Facebook ads, and that is not even my intention. It's actually the part that I don't like about business, but whereas before, I would do the same type of Facebook ad for many, many years and they were very successful, right? Like do a warm up lead for $5, see how many likes and how many comments you get. If people like it and comment, then it's good. Then I scale it to something else. And you will do the little formula, to get conversions. And now it's like you have to do it in so many other ways that it's like, yeah, help me do it. Like what do you do? AI, same thing. It's you have to surround yourself with a team. And the beautiful thing about today is that you can get a team really on the cheap. Like at the beginning, for example, I used to design for my own products. And then I started looking at it. I'm like, this design is taking me 8 hours to design. I need to make a minimum of $50 an hour. That damn design cost me $400. I'm like, what the heck am I doing? So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not learning any more design. I said all my designs are now done by some third party, and that is the way that operates. It's a lot cheaper for me. For me, my time is more valuable than outsourcing, and it's the only way to scale. If you're self-employed and you're doing everything, you're losing money.
Yeah. You
And
can't.
people don't value that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like it's huge to be able to sort of share with someone else certain tasks because you can always learn from someone. There's always someone that's going to be better at you in one thing while you can be great at the other thing. I talk to a lot of business owners for this, and they always tell me, like, one of the best things for me was to get someone who could do marketing because I'm not a marketing person, right? Like, I wanted to have my business and sell my cookies, and that's what I want to focus on.
Hmm.
Um, or, whatever it is that they're doing. And I think, like you said, it's the only way that you're gonna scale. And also it's a great way for you to sort of learn from other minds.
Yeah,
I think a lot of
everything.
business owners fall into that hole of thinking that their thoughts are the only ones that matter, but sometimes collaborating with other people is really helpful.
Yeah, everything I have to do in my business, I usually take like a small course or take like a couple of coaching calls, with
Mhm.
somebody, just to get the basic idea of what is happening in that specific aspect of the business, so that I know what I'm going to be asking for whoever is going to be doing it, who knows,
Yeah.
because otherwise, sometimes it's that you don't know what you're doing and you ask somebody to do something and they give you what you ask and it's completely wrong. Right. So I like to learn a little bit so I have the basics, but then I get somebody who actually knows how to do it. And you can only find somebody who knows how to do it and you kind of know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah, it's kind of like the concept of when you ask a person what they want to improve your transportation and they'll say faster horses, but they don't know that what they really wanted was like the invention of a car.
yes, exactly. So, and that is why, I am, and I outsource. Literally have somebody for design, I have somebody for social media, I have somebody who helps me, from time to time, if I want to make some very fancy, sales copy, I get somebody to write it, and then I just insert my wording here and there just to make it sound more me. But like research, like if I want to research keywords and stuff like that, I hire somebody that does knows SEO. I said, okay, go find me keyword. I hate keywording. It's the SEO for me is the most boring aspect of my business is SEO. I'm a very linear type of person when it comes to thinking. I'm very logical. So you ask me, how would you sell a shirt for t-shirts? And I'm like, a shirt for t-shirts. That's my keyword. A t-shirt shirt is like not in my head. It's like no other possible way that somebody's going to go on Amazon and search for a shirt that is targeted t-shirts. But as somebody in SEO is going to come up with like 20 different ways that somebody's going to search for it. And you're like, how?
Yeah.
Why?
Right.
Why does people like to complicate their head so much to search it that way? Maybe the head thinks differently, and so I'm like, you know what? You write my keywords, you write my descriptions. I don't know. I no longer write those because I I noticed that I was hurting my business by only writing it the way I think and not the way that any potential customer will be looking for that specific, and I'm like, okay, so that is things that I outsource and it helps me grow my business. Otherwise I will just be the whole day wasting time doing tasks that I hate.
Amazing. Yeah, no, totally helpful. I think it's huge for business owners to learn this, and it's great to see that you implemented this for you. Now, Fernando, this is all the time we have for today, but I do want to give you the space to tell all of our viewers and followers if they want to go and find you, talk to you, if they want to learn about you, take some of your workshops, whatever it is. I want to give you the space to promote and plug whatever you want, and the floor is yours.
Give me 3 hours. No, just kidding. Well, first of all, if you want to learn more about me, just go to Fernando Sustaita. That's my first name, last name.com. That is my website. Um, you can find there links to join my Facebook groups or follow me on social media. You can do all that is there. Um, I help people launch businesses on e-commerce, either on Etsy or Shopify, or I don't do Amazon anymore. So use pretty much the Etsy, Shopify, and any other ways to do e-commerce, in WordPress, like WooCommerce and stuff like that. I can help you just find the product. I can help you decide how you want to do it. You want to go on print on demand or you want to sell digital products. Um, Whatever, we can sit down, schedule a call with me. There's a scheduler where you can schedule a 20-minute call, see, you know, how I can help you and, no cost, and no harm done. Worst case you're gonna get after those 20 minutes is you're gonna get some clarification of what you want to do with your business, and you want to work with me, we work together. And if you don't, no hard feelings. It's about it's about you need to find the person that you connect with, right? And that is the reason those calls. Because sometimes I can feel like, what, even though you want to work with me, I don't feel like I can work with you. right? And I think a lot of coaches right now in the industry, they just want the money, that they're like, I cannot work with this person, but you know what, whatever, I'll take it. I think you're lying to your client. It's like, and that is a good way to see, okay, are we a good match? Because sometimes what they want to do is something that you're like, you know what, I don't believe on what you want to do. And you had those 20 minutes to kind of give them the idea, like, you know what, you probably want to do it this way. And you see that they're very stubborn about the decision. You're like, you know what, we're going to be working together for 6 months and we are never going to go anywhere. And it's going to be a bad review and it's just going to be like that. So it's like, you know what, let's just not work together. And that way, just don't just take a course, and it's rewarding. I like helping people, but I don't like to have as many clients as most people have. I like to work with me at a time, and that's it. Because I also like to focus on my business. I like e-commerce, but when you are working on yourself, your own office and you're self-employed and all your employees don't live like 1,000 miles away from you, it's nice to talk to somebody, from time to time. So it keeps my mind sane, I guess.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I will be adding the links to all of your information at the description of this video so that anybody that wants to find you can.
Thank you.
If they want to talk to you, see if you guys are a good match for e-commerce. Um, and thank you so much for doing this today, Fernando. We're very happy to have you. And everybody, I will see you on the next episode.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a wonderful day.
Have a wonderful day.
You've been listening to Fully Managed, brought to you by Penji. Check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest, and to learn more about Penji, the human-first creative subscription service, head over to penji.co. And by the way, if you're still listening, it would mean the absolute world to us if you were to share this podcast with a friend, and of course, subscribe.